So I'm going to read a little bit of one of my journals. Um, Also, afterwards, I want to talk a little bit about getting over grief and what that really means. Um, it is really, really hard, and most of my journals are related to Matt and Matt's death, and um, all of these things: bulimia, anorexia, shoplifting. All these things that it relates to were followed after Matt's death. And I would say now that I have come to the acceptance and accepting that he's gone. But while I was writing this, I guess it took me a couple of years to realize, but after a while, I began wondering why was I still so keen on remembering it when it was torturing me so badly? Why did I force myself into these memories that killed me inside? Um, I began wondering that after a few years. Um, this entry, actually, I just kind of flipped through it, um, and it was actually written in 2009. So it was about a year and 3 months after Matt had killed himself. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys that it's pretty offensive, and I'm really not trying to be. I never planned on reading these to anybody, so I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I'm really not trying to. Okay. It's about 4:30 in the morning and I'm all out of Tylenol PMs. The ones I stole from CVS. I'm not exactly proud of. There's a list of several things I haven't told my counselor. I can't sleep. I'm a compulsive shoplifter. I'm bulimic. Those all seem too personal. Except the insomnia one. I just always forget. The other two, I like to stay in an oblivious state of denial with. Besides, she's just going to tell me the same thing she told me about drugs. To stop. Not that I want to keep doing these things, but after years of building bad habits, it takes more than that, though I'm not sure what. You never fully realize the stupidity of your actions until you get caught. I mean, Most people know that they're bad and simply don't do them. What blissful simplicity. I've been reading a lot lately. One biography of this girl who weighed 350 pounds and went to lose like 180 or something. It says, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say cuss words on YouTube, so I'll just say F. Something is scratching at the window and it's freaking me out. I've already gone outside twice. Nothing. I'm like the stupid person in scary movies that either walks straight into danger or pretends it's not there. It's been doing this almost all night. I keep expecting someone to appear silently at the door with a gun. So then I predict my reaction. I hope I'd keep calm and not give them the satisfaction of seeing me scared, but probably not, given that I couldn't even act stable when another person's life depended on it. Given the fact that I couldn't even act stable when another person's life depended on it, I was talking about Matt. When he had the gun and was telling me he was going to, shoot himself, I, I guess here I was blaming myself for not being able to remain calm and try to calmly talk him out of it. But anyway. And now we're back to him again. F that. I have to be more than just a blank CD carrying around but one memory of a man killing himself, playing it over and over. What really sucks is that about not sleeping is you get hungry. And when you try to obey that don't eat after 7 p.m. rule, but with this strict, that's 9 or 10 hours. But with this schedule, that's 9 or 10 hours without food. Then when you finally do eat, you feel like shit because it seems like you're midnight snacking. I'm not familiar with what is okay to eat at this time. It's weird because along with the serial killer fear, I'm equally afraid a roach is going to crawl on my foot. Then I imagine just sitting here while it crawls on me or jumping up and screaming. I never think I have the energy to move that quick. But when I see or think I see one, adrenaline kicks in and all of a sudden I could run a mile away from the disgusting thing if I had to. Why am I writing about roaches and serial killers and fat chicks? All things I am genuinely... Okay. And here comes the part where I really don't want to read it. Anyway, it says, how many topics can my mind cover in 20 minutes? What I don't like about that book about losing weight is that the girl is so politically correct. She seems to be just basically happy and ignorant. There's absolutely nothing special about her. It's mundane. Maybe there is, but she was just too scared to criticize anyone or say what she really thought. That'd be even worse. I mean, she makes my journal look so brutal, like mean and so politically incorrect. Truthfully, I don't hate fat people. I hate the fat person inside of me that thinks that food is my answer to all problems. I don't want to center my life around food. That's pathetic, whether I'm fat or not. Fat people generally think that they're the only ones that struggle with food issues. I'm sure I think about food every bit as much as they do. I just think about not eating it sometimes when they're eating it. Like, I've always been thinking about food all effing night. Morning. Anyway, I'm gonna watch the news, I guess, because that is what's on and we still have no remote. Okay. So, what you see in there about the fat people thing, and I'm sorry again if I offended you guys, but after Matt died, I weighed about 130, and I'm about 5'6", so it wasn't exactly overweight, so I don't know, I came up with all these crazy, crazy reasons as to why he left me. So I think initially after he died, I honestly couldn't eat. It made me sick to my stomach. The next morning when I tried to eat, I think I went about a week eating nothing, but drinking Diet Coke, things like that. I lost about 20 pounds. So right now I actually weigh 130 again. So I'm back to the weight that I was at. Hi. Hi. It's my daughter, and she's in here. But I'm actually back to the weight that I was at, which I'm happy with now. And I no longer have this obsession with food that I had before. That was basically just something that I think I wanted to excuse, where I just wanted to, I guess, make up reasons as to why, or find reasons as to why he chose to leave me. And that was one of them, unfortunately. Hi, what are you doing? Which brings me to my next topic, which is getting over grief. I actually decided to do this video because my grandma called, and she goes to church with, hold on. She goes to church with, okay, sorry you guys. She goes to church with one of Matt's grandmothers. Or, yeah, Matt's grandma. Say hi. Hi. And so she goes to church, and and I actually heard my grandma talking about, something about Matt. And it brought back a lot of memories. And for everybody who doesn't know, this is my daughter, my 1-year-old daughter, who I love so much. This is not Matt's daughter. This is Justin, my boyfriend's, and I's daughter. And she started talking about Matt, and it just kind of brought tears to my eyes hearing somebody else mention his name for the first time in a long, long time. And just knowing that I wasn't alone in thinking of him and missing him really, really helped, it was a weird kind of happy sad. It was one of those cries that you cry because, but it feels good to cry, almost. And I think it's really perplexing sometimes why it feels good to miss somebody, why it, I'm sorry, but I think it's really confusing, and it started to confuse me after a couple of years as to why I continued to almost hurt myself, it seemed like, by doing this and by thinking of him. And the conclusion that I came up with after all these years, the conclusion that I came up with, I'll finish that sentence, is that it's like they are dying again, except this time they're dying not only in real life, but they're dying in your mind, and you feel like you are choosing it, and you're choosing for them to die again. And I was playing with Alexis yesterday, and it occurred to me that I couldn't have both in this lifetime. I couldn't have Matt, and I couldn't have her both at one time. And it was kind of a crazy realization. But on letting go and getting over somebody, I felt like for a long time that I felt guilt if I moved on. I felt like I was responsible for making sure that this wonderful person who I loved more than myself wasn't forgotten and wasn't gone forever. And honestly, not getting over somebody is honestly a little bit like denial, because you keep them alive in your mind, and it's almost a denial of their death, which is very real. And of course, you're allowed to grieve however long you feel that you need to grieve, but it's it's not okay to continue putting that person first, the person that you loved more than yourself usually. It's not okay to continue putting them first after they have died.